I'm building a $10 million company as a teenager, and in this video, I want to talk about the problems I think exist in the world today about fast money and the likes of all these kids getting rich, making $30,000 a month. And why I think that mindset is a problem, and more importantly, what I think is a better way to make wealth, not just money, but like wealth that could extend over life. So, sort of the problem with all these gurus or coaches in the internet space is that they talk about making your first 10,000 a month or making 30K a month. And the problem called like this new fad, that new fad, all that stuff, right? Fastest way to make money in 2024. The problem I think with all these things is that it's more a sell. It's more of it helps them sell a program rather than help make someone else money. And I think fundamentally the problem with things like this is that you're not teaching someone how to build wealth. You're just teaching them like how to get rich. So like the difference I think between getting rich and building wealth is wealth is sub, wealth is sustainable. Uh, Whereas rich is like, okay, I made a bunch of money this month. Maybe I'll make it in that next month, whatever. Wealth is something that lasts decades and arguably your whole life. So I think the reason I'm looking to go for something that's much bigger, like a $10 million market or something like that, is that it pushes me to expand my own uh, capabilities, my own skills, and like do more than just make $10,000 a month. But secondly, I think it's a much more worthy goal, uh, just because everyone is chasing the other 10K, 30K, like flashy lifestyle on YouTube, cars and stuff, which once some once everyone thinks something is a good idea, it's not anymore. So also, this is a relatively new phenomena. Obviously, fast money has existed throughout human history, but the whole fad of coaching and selling programs and people learning from people and then teaching the next person and teaching the next person and teaching the next person instead of actually doing something with it. It's it's really risen up in the last 5 years. So I think people have forgotten that internet and this last 5 years after COVID per se. That's not what money is. Money and rich people, wealthy people have existed for millennia since the start of civilization, kings and stuff. So I think since there are methods that have lasted all of human history, uh, if we just follow those methods, we are bound to get wealthy because fads come and go, drop servicing, drop shipping, e-commerce, agency, they'll come and go, right? AI will come and go. But something that has always existed has a very good chance of always existing in the future. And I feel like the way people have built wealth and people are still building wealth is by owning assets. So owning assets that are worth something and also that produce cash flow. So you can then take out a loan, buy bigger assets, continuously, right? Or just have that asset and live your life in the cash flow. And I think these assets, obviously, they could be real estate, you could own lands, buildings, businesses, uh, any of that stuff. So, kind of the reason I think building assets or owning assets rather investing into assets and owning them and getting cash flow through them is much better than just making money every month is well there's two reasons. One, just making money, a like let's say you make 10,000 a month, you make 10,000 a month, right? you have to pay taxes on it, you have to live on it, right? Compare that to a business that makes 10,000 a month. uh, Depending on where you live, you may not have to pay taxes, etc. But more importantly, now you've built a system that's making you 10,000. If you keep investing into it, you'll reach 15k, 20k, 30, 40, 50. Now you can do that with skills. You can do that by freelancing, by coaching people, that stuff. But I think at some point, right, maybe the fastest way to 10k or 30k is by doing these things like e-commerce or agency or coaching people, right? But if you want to make $10 million, the fastest way to make that is not by earning $10 million. That's ridiculous. Like imagine like you're making $30,000 a month or $50,000 a month. Okay, and you're making $50,000 a month, and maybe 30,000 of that is profit. You have to pay your taxes. So let's say after that 30% taxes, you pay your team, maybe you're left with 15,000 a month. To make $10 million of 15,000, uh, that'll take you like what, 600 months, or in other words 50 years. So you need to understand that there's a concept of how rich people get rich. Like Jeff Bezos doesn't have $200 billion sitting in a bank account. He owns assets, Amazon and other land and stuff that is worth $200 billion. And now some people say that, oh, it's worth on paper, it's not actually worth. But like the reason owning assets that are worth something is better is not just because you can own something that's worth way more than it's making, but also because it's not just something that's on paper. You can do two things with it. You could either sell it and then you have all that money, someone is willing to buy it. And secondly, and probably the more important one, is that you could loan it out. I mean, you could take a loan and put your asset as collateral, or like just because you have the asset, you could take a loan against that asset and just take a much bigger number than the asset that you own, and then buy an asset that's even bigger. So you can put 1 million down and get like buy something that's worth 10 million, and then just continue the cycle from there. And that's how people used to get wealthy, not rich, wealthy. Um, and private equity, real estate, all those stuff, all those things use these same principles. But secondly, the other big benefit of owning assets, owning businesses, or investing into assets is that, let's say you're making 100 grand a month with freelancing or with coaching or something, right? A, you're making 100k a month, you have to pay taxes on it. 30% maybe. Now you're making 70k a month. It's pretty good money, but it's 70k a month, and you have to go out and kill. Like you have to get new clients, you have to make payroll. Like it's things that you have to keep doing every month, or it will go away. So if you're not there, it'll go away. Versus if you have a business that's making 100k a month, a like you have systems in place, you have teams in place that will help you run the business, even if you have to go away from, even if you choose to go away. And secondly, a business that's making 100k a month, it's not just 100k. It's the 100k a month business. Let's say 100k a month in profit. That will make 1.2 million in the year. And so on a standard business of that size, you can get a 4x or 5x, but let's say 4x multiple. And so that business that's making 1.2 million a year in EBITDA or profit, a simpler word for profit, that 1.2 million times 4 is 4.8 million. So that business that's making you 100k in profit is worth $4.8 million. And so you can sell it, or you can put it as collateral, get loan against it, and then that $4.8 million business is worth way more than just making 100K every single month. And I think the the reason most people don't think about all this is because A, they either don't know, or B, they're too much in the allure of just getting the fast money, just making that money and like flashing on Instagram that I've made it, I've these cars and I'm going traveling everywhere. But like if you honestly think about it, like the the you don't want to be like rich for a year, or if it's the fastest way to make money this year, then it's probably not the best way to keep money long term, right? Or you have to keep trying new things. Doesn't make sense. I like to do things where the effort I'm putting into today will give me compounding interest, compounding outputs for the rest of my life. And so, so to build a business and like build an asset, it will not only produce that cash flow every month, but it will also be worth so much more than the amount of saving. And so, yes, it's slower. It's not as fast and it's not as flashy. It's pretty boring. But if you just do the boring work, you can have assets and you can have businesses that will last your lifetime, money that will last your lifetime, wealth that will last your lifetime. And I think my parting like thought on this would be that even though it's not as sexy, even though it's not as fast, I think just being willing to do it, willing to take the slower path when everyone else is going for the flashy, fast lifestyle path, I think that alone puts you into a category that most people will never be a part of. And I think, as many people before me have said, that money is money doesn't change who you are; it just multiplies, amplifies who you are. And so it's really the character traits that you're looking for. Because yes, money will buy you things, but it won't give you anything substantial. Like the people you want to be in contact with, the respect you want, money won't get you that. It might influence it a little, but really it's the character that you're looking for. And so if you can really think about it and really give it a thought, like take the slow way, but take the sure and take the it only looks slow because you're comparing it with the few months that somebody else will make 30K and you'll make like 5K. But if you compare it with what it looks like over the next 5 years, you're not only going to beat them, but you're going to be so far ahead that the shadow you cast, like you won't even be able to see them. So take the right path, build it up properly, build it up over time, and it's like weight loss. If you lose it fast, it'll come back fast. But if you lose it slow, it may never come back. So yeah, that's that's why I'm on this journey to build wealth, not just money. To not chase the fast path. I have done it in the past. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've paid a lot of people that I shouldn't have just to be in the fast thing. But I've learned now that wealth is more important. I'm making compounding bets, especially because I'm still a teenager, even though I've spent a lot of years looking for the fast one. Um, I think just waiting for the compounding to start and kick in, and at that point, you'll just destroy everyone. Because at some point, right, the stacking up won't compare with the compounding growth. And so that's my thoughts about building a $10 million company as a teenager and building wealth, not just money.